we have a lot of respect for Arkansas's team. They play hard. They're tough. They kind of reflect their coach's sort of culture and attitude of how he wants them to play. And I think that it doesn't matter what your talent level is. You got to be able to match, that kind of toughness and energy and intensity. And, focus and energy, to create the right habits is probably one of the most important things that we all can do. I mean, because let's face it, most of us have some bad habits, and we have to work really, really hard, whether it's, nutrition, whether it's conditioning, whether it's, how we practice, how we focus, whatever it is, to develop the kind of habits that are going to help us be successful. Because no matter what your vision is, no matter what your dream is, that's only going to take you so far, but you're only going to go as far as the habits that you develop and create, can take you. So, that's the challenge for, our team right now at this point in the season where people aren't feeling maybe as good as they did, in week 1 and week 2. But if they want to accomplish and realize their vision and goals, then, they have to make the choices to do things in a way that's going to create the right habits for them. One thing I wanted to mention is, I wanted to mention the fact that I had the blood plasma treatment, and it really was helpful, to me. And I think it's important that people really understand how helpful this can be. And I know if you've had this disease and you have immunity to it or whatever, and you can give your blood plasma, it might help some other people who are being affected by this. And I know that we don't have enough of it to go around. And I just would, as soon as I'm eligible to be able to do that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give my blood plasma so it really can help somebody else, so that maybe they don't have the issues and problems that create some really serious sickness and sometimes fatality. So, you always can call the Red Cross, and they can take care of you, and you might be able to help some other people. And I would encourage folks to do that.
All right, Coach, we will start this evening off with Michael Casagrande of AL.com.
Yeah, just wondered if you could explain or describe your thought process when you're deciding whether or not to go for it on 4th and short.
It depends a lot on field position and certainly the situation in the game. We always kind of define 4-down territory, whether it's just outside field goal range, let's say from the 35 to the 45-yard line, on the plus side of the field for us. And, so that's a big part of it. I mean, to me, the situation in the game, sometimes determines whether you do or you don't. So I think those two factors, field position and situation in the game, are probably the most critical things to make that determination. If you're down by the goal line, if the ball's inside the 1-yard line, it's usually, if you got confidence in your players, it's usually, a pretty good bet that you'll be able to make a half a yard or whatever you need to make it. Doesn't always work out that way, but but again, that's field position and situation in the game would determine that.
We'll go with Charlie Potter.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you about the 4 assistants that missed last week's game. Will they be able to travel to Fayetteville this weekend?
I think we're going to have them all back. I think we'll get a couple guys back before the end of the week, and I think we'll get a couple guys back on Friday. So I do think we'll have the coaches back.
Next, we'll go to Rob in Philadelphia. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Rob.
Got it. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. My question involves Jalen Hurts, who will be starting for the Eagles this week. Due to COVID, we haven't had a chance to meet him. It's all been virtual like this. So I really don't know much about him, haven't had a chance to talk to him other than these brief encounters. What can you tell us about his character, his leadership? And then he's walking into a unique situation where he's going to play for an established starter, and it's sort of a shoe on the other foot from what happened during his time with you guys. Can you talk to us a little bit about how he handled that situation? Thank you.
Well, the guy's got great character. He's as fine a person as we've ever had in the program. He's a very good leader. He's a hard worker. He's well liked by his teammates. Winning was important to him, and he wanted to do whatever he had to do to, try to help his team have a chance to win. And, I think he probably went through a much more difficult circumstance here in terms of being 26-2 or whatever he was as a starter, and then somebody else starting in his place. And then he had to take that person's place in the SEC championship game and go in and win the game and come from behind, to do it. So he's been in a lot of tough circumstances, and he was very supportive. When he was the guy, he was supportive of the guy behind him. When that guy became the man, he was very supportive of him when he had to sit behind him. And he was also worked really hard in the backup role so that he could improve and get better, so that he would have a chance to play in the NFL someday. And he really took advantage of that. So when he went to Oklahoma, I thought he was a better passer and really did a lot of things really, really well. So this is as good a person, and I feel bad for you all in Philadelphia if you haven't had a chance to meet him, because he's a guy that's really easy to fall in love with, that's for sure, because he's a great person. He's got a great family.
Coach, we'll go to Jeff Spiegel next.
Yeah, Nick, a coach told me a long time ago that, you never follow a legend, you follow the guy who followed a legend. But Ray Perkins really took that on when he followed in Coach Bryant's footsteps. Can you talk about how, that defined him as a person, as a coach, and what his legacy was?
Well, I think Coach Perkins was, first of all, a great person. He was always really good to me, very supportive of the University of Alabama and the program here. Has really been helpful to me in terms of my development as a coach and the time that he was willing to spend to help me on things. I think he probably handled the circumstance and the situation he was in, taking over for Coach Bryant as well as anybody, in the world could. And I think it takes strong leadership and great conviction in terms of what you believe in and what you want to do to make a situation like that work very favorably. But, he had lots of success wherever he was. He was always one of the most well-respected people in our profession. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family, and I can't tell you anyone in this profession that I have any more respect for than Coach Perkins.
Okay, we'll wrap up with two follow-ups here. We'll start with Charlie and then Michael.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to ask you about Patrick Surtain. He was named a finalist for the Nagurski earlier today. Just have you seen him step up his game both on and off the field?
Well, I think, you define Patrick as consistency and performance. He's really played well all year long. And he's just done a really good job. He practices well every day, sets a good example. He really prepares well for the game. He's smart. He understands concepts, and he understands what the other team's trying to do. And I think he puts himself in position to, make the right play based on what he needs to do to help our defense be successful. And he's made a lot of really good plays himself. So I couldn't be more pleased with the way he's played all season long.
And we'll finish up with Michael.
Yeah, just wondering, how'd that process go when you received the plasma donation? How'd that get set up, and how did it work?
Well, I just did what the doctors told me. So I went to the hospital and got the plasma treatment. I think it took, I think, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And then you had to sit there for another hour or so to make sure you didn't have any reactions. And I did my tips and reminders that I always do when I was sitting in the hospital, and didn't really skip a beat. They had a nice little desk for me so I could work. And but I can tell you it worked wonders, and it was very, very effective, and I would recommend it. But I also think that I would recommend that we have a tremendous need, for that from people who have had it, who have immunities, that they could help other people.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.